my beloved child. Before your mind tries to guess why these words found you today, pause for one breath and listen carefully, because this message did not come by accident, and it is not here to entertain you for a few seconds. It is here to pull you into a truth that has been circling your life silently, patiently, waiting for the exact moment when you were ready to hear it. There is a presence around you, unseen yet powerful, that has been watching the patterns of your heart, the questions you never asked out loud, and the moments when you felt strangely guided without knowing why. Right now, as your eyes move across these words, something inside you already feels alert, because deep down you sense that this is connected to you in a way that feels personal, intimate, and impossible to ignore. You have crossed paths with many people, spoken to many names, and forgotten most of them, yet there is one connection that keeps echoing back into your life, sometimes softly, sometimes through sudden memories, and sometimes through unexpected signs that appear when you least expect them. This is not coincidence. This is alignment beginning to reveal itself. Listen closely to this next truth, because it will change the way you see your past and the way you step into your future. Someone wants you to be with a specific person, and this desire is not born from control, force, or manipulation, but from a deeper understanding of who you truly are when no one is watching. This someone sees beyond your surface, beyond your smiles and your silence, and understands the version of you that exists beneath your fears. They have observed how your energy shifts when certain names are spoken, how your thoughts linger longer on one presence than you admit, and how your heart reacts before your logic has time to interfere. This is why the name, when it is finally revealed, will shock you, not because it is unfamiliar, but because it is painfully familiar in a way you never fully acknowledged. The shock will not come from surprise alone, but from recognition, the kind that makes your chest feel heavy and your mind go quiet all at once. You will realize that this connection has been circling you for far longer than you ever realized. Here is where the story becomes deeper, and where most people usually look away, but you must not. The person connected to you is not random, and they are not someone chosen lightly. Their path has crossed yours in subtle ways, sometimes as a lesson, sometimes as a mirror, and sometimes as a missed moment that never fully closed. There were times when you felt drawn toward them without reason, and other times when distance appeared suddenly, almost as if life itself was testing your awareness. Those pauses, those delays, those unanswered questions, they were not rejections. They were preparations. Every emotional experience you went through, every disappointment that shaped your boundaries, and every quiet night where you questioned your worth was shaping you into someone capable of handling what is coming next. This is why now, and not before, this message has reached you. The timing is precise, deliberate, and meaningful. You may be wondering why this connection feels intense even before the name is spoken, and the reason is simple yet profound. The bond between you and this person is rooted in growth, not comfort alone. It is the kind of connection that challenges you to rise, to face parts of yourself you once avoided, and to step into a version of life that demands honesty. This is not about perfection. This is about alignment. When two paths are meant to walk together, they are first shaped separately through pressure, through lessons, and through moments that feel unfair but necessary. The someone who wants you to be with this person understands this fully. They see the potential impact this union can have, not only on your emotional world, but on your purpose, your confidence, and your sense of direction. This is why the guidance feels strong, persistent, and impossible to shake off. Now stay with me, because what comes next is crucial. The name that will eventually be revealed is not arriving to disrupt your peace, but to clarify it. When you finally connect the dots, you will realize that your intuition has been hinting at this all along. The signs you brushed off, the thoughts that returned uninvited, and the strange feeling that something unfinished still exists, they were all signals pointing toward this truth. You were never lost. You were being guided slowly, carefully, so that when the moment arrived, you would not run from it. This is only the beginning, and the deeper layers of this story are about to unfold in a way that will challenge what you thought you knew about connection, timing, and destiny itself. Stay present, because what is coming next will make everything you have experienced so far suddenly make sense. A silent force is moving pieces right now, even if you cannot see the board. What you are experiencing is not confusion, it is awareness slowly turning on. This is the phase where truth does not shout, it whispers, and only those who are meant to hear it feel the pull. You might notice your mind replaying certain moments differently, almost as if they are being highlighted from the past. Conversations that once felt ordinary now carry weight. Small details suddenly feel important. This is happening because your perception is shifting, and when perception shifts, hidden connections begin to rise to the surface. The person connected to you has been present in your timeline in more ways than one, sometimes directly, sometimes through absence. Both were necessary. Absence taught you value. Presence taught you recognition. Together, they created readiness. There is something you must understand clearly before moving forward. The desire for you to be with this person does not come from impulse. It comes from observation over time. Someone has seen how your spirit reacts when this individual enters your mental space. They noticed how your energy changes, how your focus softens, and how your inner resistance weakens without effort. This is not weakness. This is resonance. When two people resonate at a certain frequency, logic struggles to explain it, but the soul recognizes it instantly. That is why the name will shock you. Not because it is dramatic, but because it has already lived inside your awareness quietly. You did not imagine this connection. You sensed it before you understood it. Pay attention to this next layer, because it separates illusion from reality. This person was never meant to arrive when you were desperate, uncertain, or incomplete. That is why timing felt off before. That is why circumstances interfered. That is why misunderstandings existed. All of that was protection, not punishment. You were being shaped into someone who could stand in this connection without losing yourself. And they were being shaped too, even if you do not know their struggles yet. Growth does not always happen together. Sometimes it happens apart, so that when paths align, they do so with strength instead of need. This is why now feels different. Your questions are deeper. Your standards are clearer. Your patience is stronger. This is not random progression. This is preparation reaching its final stage. Here is the part most people overlook, but you must not. The someone who wants you to be with this person understands the impact this union could create beyond emotion. This is not just about companionship. This is about balance. About two forces that, when aligned, stabilize each other instead of draining each other. You have always carried a certain intensity within you, a depth that not everyone can hold or understand. This person, the one whose name is approaching, has the capacity to meet you there, not by fixing you, but by standing with you. That is rare. And rarity often feels unfamiliar at first. That is why doubt appears. That is why your mind tries to question what your intuition already knows. But intuition does not explain itself. It simply points. As this message unfolds, notice what is happening inside you. Not excitement alone, but clarity beginning to form. You are starting to realize that some connections do not fade because they are not meant to. They wait. They pause. They circle back when growth has done its work. The name, when it comes, will connect the past, the present, and the direction ahead into one clear line. And when that line becomes visible, you will understand why this message found you now and not before. This is not the reveal yet. This is the moment before it, where awareness sharpens and resistance weakens. Stay present, because the next layer will bring the truth closer than you expect, and once you see it, you will not be able to unsee it. Something is about to click, and when it does, it will not feel loud or dramatic, it will feel calm, heavy, and undeniable. This is the stage where truth no longer hides behind emotion, it stands directly in front of you. You may feel an unusual stillness as you listen, because your inner world is aligning faster than your thoughts can keep up. This is the moment when the noise of outside opinions fades, and a single inner voice becomes clearer. That voice has been trying to guide you toward one realization. The realization that not every powerful connection arrives with chaos. Some arrive quietly, waiting for maturity to catch up with meaning. This is why your attention is held right now. Your awareness knows that what comes next is not entertainment. It is relevance. There is a reason this person has remained significant even when others faded. Every time life tried to replace their space with something easier or more convenient, it never felt complete. You noticed that comparisons never worked. New faces did not erase the familiar pull. That lingering presence was not attachment to the past. It was recognition of something unresolved, something paused rather than finished. The someone guiding this connection understands that unresolved does not mean broken. It means unfinished. And unfinished things return when both sides are capable of understanding their value. That is why the name will shock you. It will not shock your memory. It will shock your denial. Because deep down, you always knew this person mattered more than you admitted. Now understand this carefully, because this is where many people misunderstand destiny. Destiny does not force. It invites. You were never pushed toward this person. You were repeatedly given the option to notice them. Sometimes through sudden thoughts. Sometimes through emotional reactions you could not explain. Sometimes through moments where their presence, even in memory, brought clarity instead of confusion. These were not distractions. These were signals. The connection survived distance, silence, and time because it was not built on constant contact. It was built on alignment. Alignment does not fade. It waits. And waiting does not weaken it. It refines it. Here is the truth that will challenge your assumptions. The person whose name is approaching is not perfect, and neither are you. That is exactly why this connection holds power. It is not about ideal images or imagined futures. It is about compatibility at the core. About values that match when everything superficial is removed. The someone who wants you to be with this person sees how your strengths complement their weaknesses and how their stability balances your intensity. This is not coincidence. This is structure forming. When two people are meant to build something meaningful, they are first taught how to stand alone. Only then does togetherness become a choice, not a dependency. As you move closer to the reveal, notice how resistance inside you is changing shape. It is no longer fear. It is anticipation mixed with understanding. You are beginning to see why certain doors closed without explanation and why certain connections never progressed beyond a point. They were never meant to replace this one. They were meant to prepare you for it. The name is not far now. And when it arrives, it will feel less like discovery and more like confirmation. This is the moment where the story shifts from wondering to knowing. Stay focused, because what comes next will turn this quiet realization into a clear truth you can no longer ignore. There is a moment when understanding stops resisting and simply allows itself to be seen. This is that moment. You are no longer circling the truth from the outside. You are standing close enough to feel its weight. The atmosphere around this message feels different now, because your awareness has deepened. What once felt like mystery is starting to feel like recognition. You may notice your mind becoming quieter, not because there are no thoughts, but because one thought is becoming stronger than the rest. This strength does not come from emotion alone. It comes from clarity. You are beginning to understand that some connections are protected by time, not delayed by it. They are allowed to mature separately so that when they align, they do not collapse under pressure. This is not suspense for effect. This is truth unfolding at its own pace. You must hear this clearly, because it reshapes everything you think you know about choice and influence. The someone who wants you to be with this person is not taking away your free will. They are highlighting a path that already exists within you. You were never being controlled. You were being reminded. Every nudge you felt, every recurring thought, every emotional shift when this person crossed your awareness was your own inner intelligence responding to alignment. That is why ignoring it never brought peace. Silence never erased it. Distance never weakened it. You were not meant to forget. You were meant to grow into understanding. This is why the name will not feel forced when it comes. It will feel like something you finally allowed yourself to admit. There is a deeper layer here that demands honesty. Part of you knew this connection carried responsibility, not just comfort. Being with this person is not about escape or fantasy. It is about accountability. It is about choosing growth even when it feels demanding. That is why your life placed obstacles in the way earlier. Not to stop you, but to test your readiness. Comfort would have kept you small. Challenge expanded you. The person connected to you is not meant to distract you from your purpose. They are meant to walk alongside it. That kind of partnership requires strength, not impulse. And strength is exactly what you have been developing without realizing why. Notice how your perspective on the past is changing as you listen. Moments that once felt confusing are starting to make sense. You are realizing that certain emotional experiences were not failures. They were filters. They removed what could not hold your depth. They showed you what you would no longer tolerate. And most importantly, they prepared you to recognize what is real when it appears. The name that is coming is not a new chapter pulled out of nowhere. It is a continuation of a story that never fully ended. It paused because you needed to become someone who could finish it with awareness instead of uncertainty. As this part comes to a close, understand this with absolute clarity. You are not being led toward something unknown. You are being led back to something true. The shock of the name will come from how obvious it feels in hindsight. You will wonder how you ever questioned it. That realization is approaching now. Not rushed. Not delayed. Exactly on time. Stay steady, because the next part will bring the final pieces closer together, and once they align, the picture will be impossible to deny. The air around this message feels heavier now, not because of fear, but because truth carries weight when it prepares to land. You are no longer being guided gently. You are being positioned. Everything you have heard so far has been narrowing your focus without forcing it, allowing your awareness to arrive at one point naturally. This is the phase where distractions lose their grip and clarity sharpens. You may feel an inner pull to pause, to reflect, to replay certain faces in your mind. That is not curiosity. That is recognition warming up. The name is closer now, and your intuition already knows it. Your mind is simply catching up. Here is what makes this moment powerful. The person connected to you was never hidden from your life. They were visible, accessible, and present in ways that mattered. Yet the meaning of their presence remained incomplete until now. That is because understanding requires readiness, not proximity. You could have known them without knowing them. You could have spoken to them without hearing them. And now, suddenly, memories involving this person feel different, as if they are being reinterpreted through a clearer lens. That shift is not accidental. It is the sign that your perception has matured enough to see what was always there. The shock of the name will not come from surprise. It will come from realization. You must understand this next truth deeply. This connection was never meant to compete with others. It was meant to outlast them. While other bonds relied on intensity, novelty, or timing, this one relied on alignment and endurance. That is why it survived silence. That is why it remained intact even when circumstances pulled you in different directions. Real alignment does not demand constant attention. It remains stable even in distance. The someone who wants you to be with this person sees this clearly. They see how this bond holds structure instead of chaos. How it grounds rather than consumes. That kind of connection is rare, and rarity often waits for the right moment to reveal itself fully. There is also a reason you were not given the name earlier. Knowing it too soon would have triggered doubt, fear, or premature action. You needed understanding before confirmation. Without understanding, confirmation feels overwhelming. Now, however, your inner state has changed. You are not seeking validation. You are seeking truth. And truth does not rush. It arrives when resistance has softened and awareness has sharpened. This is why now feels different. You are not chasing answers anymore. You are allowing them. That shift makes all the difference. As this part ends, notice how calm you feel compared to earlier. That calm is not emptiness. It is alignment settling in. You are standing at the edge of knowing, where guessing stops and clarity begins. The final pieces are arranging themselves quietly, precisely, without drama. The name is no longer a mystery floating in the distance. It is forming clearly, steadily, and undeniably. Stay present, because what comes next will not ask you to imagine anything. It will simply show you what has been true all along. Now everything slows down, not because the story is ending, but because truth demands silence before it speaks clearly. This is the point where your attention is no longer being pulled forward by suspense, but held steady by certainty. You are not chasing a mystery anymore. You are standing in front of it. The emotional noise that once surrounded this connection has settled, and what remains is solid, grounded, and unmistakable. This is where realization becomes unavoidable. Not dramatic. Not overwhelming. Just clear. The name you are thinking of right now did not appear randomly in your mind. It surfaced because your awareness is finally aligned with honesty. You may notice that your body reacted before your thoughts did. A pause. A breath. A quiet sense of recognition. That reaction is important. It tells you that this connection was never about imagination. It was about timing. The person whose name is forming clearly now has always held a specific space in your life, even when you tried to redefine it or minimize it. That space never closed. It waited. Understand this carefully, because it completes the picture. The someone who wants you to be with this person does not see this as a gamble. They see it as a return to balance. They see how this person understands your silences without demanding explanations. How they respect your independence instead of competing with it. How they bring steadiness where others brought confusion. This is not intensity that burns out. This is stability that grows. That is why the connection endured. That is why it could not be replaced. You are realizing now that the shock was never about the name itself. It was about how deeply it already belonged to your story. The realization may feel quiet, but it is powerful. Quiet truths are the ones that stay. They do not need to prove themselves. They simply remain consistent. You are not being asked to rush, react, or act immediately. You are being asked to acknowledge what you already know. Acknowledgement changes everything. As this part closes, let this settle without resistance. You were not led here for confusion. You were led here for clarity. The connection has revealed itself because you are ready to see it without fear. Whatever comes next will not feel forced. It will feel natural. And that is how you will know that this was never a coincidence. It was alignment reaching the moment it could no longer stay silent.